Hello, it's been a while. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Asparagus, and this is my bookish channel, Asparagus Reading. So, if you haven't seen the thumbnail or the title, I'm going to be doing a book haul today because I have a few books that have come in recently that I wanted to talk about. Most of these, if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you've probably already seen because I tend to open and unbox and do like little hauls there before I do a YouTube video for it. If you would like more up-to-date information on what's going on in my bookish life, go to my Instagram at Asparagus Reading, also linked down below. Alright, so let's get into this haul before this video gets too long. First up here we have 1, 2, 4, and 5 of the Attack on Titan manga series. I don't own part 3 yet, just because when I found it at the stores they only had 1, 2, 4, and 5. I did read these recently. I read it in like one day. I did a little video. Again, check out my Instagram and TikTok. I'll also leave the link down below if you want to watch it. I did a little time lapse of reading all 5. These are great. If you don't know what Attack on Titan is, this is basically about a walled city. There's multiple cities within different walls. Just say one giant city and there's like walls within the city. I don't know how to explain it. It's easier when you see the picture. I'll put the picture here. Basically, Attack on Titan is about people who live within this walled city, and they are living there as a means of protection from titans. And here's an example of a titan. So titans are basically like these giant beast creatures that eat for fun. They really don't have much any other function, any other meaning, any other rhyme or reason, nothing. They just eat humans for fun. They don't talk, they don't communicate, they don't really do anything. They just human eat. Basically zombies. So they're in this walled city to protect themselves in there, and in book 1 and in season 1 of the show, you see that these 3 characters, as children, Mikasa, Eren, and Armin, they are, just enjoying their little kid life, when one day this Titan, which I believe is the Colossal Titan, who comes in and basically kicks a giant hole in the wall, in the outer wall. There's multiple walls, as I mentioned earlier. And Titans get in, and obviously chaos ensues. Buildings are destroyed, people die, there's panic, yada yada yada, a whole hot mess. And so everyone who's in those outer walls have to migrate into the inner walls and kind of adjust to life afterwards and pray that this guy don't show up again. So now it's about 10-15 years in the future, I don't remember the exact year, where those 3 main characters are now older, and they are now training to join the military force, or at least one of them, because there's 3, to fight and work against the Titans, but also try to figure out what the Titans are, what their function is, what their weaknesses are, how to take them down, why they're here, things like that. And that's basically what the whole series is about. There's someone who does not like adaptations that are very different from the books. You're in luck, because this is not that. At least from what I've read so far, these are very closely to the TV show. But I do believe these were created first, which I'm really excited about. Then, also from Target, because Target did this buy 2 get 1 free deals, so I may have bought some books then, and then they had a bunch of sales at my Target. I don't know what was going on, but they were like 20% off, 50% off, 30% off, 5% off, signed, here's this. And I was like, okay, take my money, take my money. So the first book I got is Blackout, which is a short story collection by Donnell Clayton, Tiffany Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk, and Nicola Yoon. This is basically an anthology of different short stories following different people of color, mainly black characters, in New York City, pretty much around the same time as us in the pandemic, where they're like slowly getting out of the pandemic, but they're still taking the precautions necessary, when there's a giant blackout in the city. And so this basically just follows a bunch of teenagers, young adults, I would say around my age, maybe a little bit older, just living daily life during this blackout and how they have to adjust to the blackout. So one of the stories follows like 2 exes who broke up a while ago, and they end up walking together throughout New York City to get somewhere because he has somewhere he wants to be. There's another story where there's 2 people who were on a like subway type train, I think that's what they're called, subway trains. And they're stuck on there because the power's out. And one of them is like claustrophobic, doesn't really like closed spaces. And the other one remembers that from when they used to be in school. There's another one where I think 2 people met at a party. There's another one where they met, I think it was like an Uber driver. She was trying to get this driver to get her somewhere, and they ran out of gas, but because there's no power, and it's a whole hot mess going on, but it's also really cute seeing people connect and do all these things in a Blackout, and I really enjoyed it. I believe I did ebook and audiobook when I read this, gave it 5 stars, and when I found this at Target for like 30% off, I bought it. So another thing I got from Target, which is part of that buy 2 get 1 free deal, is All the Fields by Olivia Day. The other 2 books I ordered are pre-orders. Those won't come out till next year, so you probably won't see those hauls until, next year. So this is another one of Olivia Dade's books with a plus-size main character and then a celebrity male. This is one of her books in a series. I don't know what the series is called exactly. I just know that it's related to Spoiler Alert, which is a very popular title that many people have read. And basically, in this one, this guy is named Alex and her name is Lauren. So Alex is just getting all this bad so Alex is getting all this bad publicity and bad reputations and just getting in trouble and doing stupidness. It just, and his agent and everyone else is basically just tired of it. Should I listen? Get it together. Get it together. You have until this date to I think the days when the last episode finishes airing to get it together. And if you can't get it together, you're getting some serious legal consequences, being fired and everything else that we can do. Okay? So they hire Lauren, who is the cousin of someone who is like telling him get it together. She is a former ER therapist, and she's now something, I can't remember what they call her, but she's basically like babysitting him and helping him keep it together and keeping him in check and, watching his behaviors and his alcohol consumption, because it seems a lot of these things happens when he is under the influence or in that environment. I'm enjoying it so far. And it's a very floppy, beautiful book. Speaking of floppy, beautiful books, we have another one, and it's also purple, and this is Starfish by Akami Bowman. This one I got in a giveaway. This I have heard from Books with Chloe a lot on her channel, about how much she liked this and how much she enjoyed this and how much it really spoke to her and how she cried and things like that. I believe this is about a Japanese American character that is going through college or trying to, get to college, and is learning a lot about their Japanese heritage and their history and adjusting to life when their abusive family member moves back in, and then it's just basically a really difficult time for them trying to adjust and find themselves an identity and also figure out what they want to do with their future. And it sounded something that I would really enjoy and then relate to in some aspects. And also just Books and Club really hyped it up, so I decided to read it. Alright, so these next 3 books are all fairy tale fantasy retellings. 2 of them are by the same author. You probably see me scream about them all the time. And that is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. So you probably already know, I'm obsessed with Marissa Meyer. If you were to ask me top 5 authors, top auto-buy authors, favorite authors, I would probably say Marissa Meyer, because Marissa Meyer has been a very consistent author for me. I tend to buy all their books. I tend to give all their books when I read them 4 to 5 stars. Very rarely have anything against the book or any problems with it. I tend to really enjoy them, fall in love with them, unnecessarily extremely attached to the characters, etc. So Lunar Chronicles is their first series, and I remember reading this when I was younger, and because I really like fairy tales, and I thought that the whole concept of rewriting or retelling a fairy tale was like, boom, like at the time that was a whole new thing to me. This, girl, let me tell you, when I said I ate this up, and I read it twice, and I cried, and I read the entire series, and I read it again, and I basically made this into my whole personality. Yeah. Speaking of Marissa Meyer, we have another retelling. So Marissa Meyer has recently published a new book, and that is Gilded, which is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. This came out like November 2nd, I think. So basically, Gilded by Marissa Meyer is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling about a woman named Serelda, but she's known for telling tales and telling stories all the time, and people don't really know if those stories are true and if the magic in them are real. So one day she tells a story that kind of gets popular and kind of gets thrown about. Everyone knows about it, and it's about the Earl King, and the Earl King is pissed. He's not into it. He said, No, sis, we ain't doing that. So, he gives her a impossible task to spin straw into gold. And if she doesn't, she'll be killed for telling false stories. So now, she's kind of like, oh crap. Got myself in a bit of a pickle here. A bit of a pickle here. I can either spin some gold, which is pretty much impossible, or die for telling stories that may or may not be true. Oh joy. So in the process of her trying to figure out how to get herself out of the situation, also just trying to save her life, she ends up meeting this mysterious boy who can possibly help her get out of the situation. And it sounds pretty good. So a lot of people who have heard of this book are like, have you watched Once Upon a Time? I don't remember her response to that, because this definitely gives me Rumpelstiltskin and Belle vibes from Once Upon a Time, but also just in general. This is like Once Upon a Time. Like, this is just embodies Once Upon a Time. Because I feel like Rumple, whichever character he ends up being in here, I don't think his name's actually gonna be Rumple, but if he is in here, I definitely feel like she's gonna give him the same role of as being somewhat villain, but also like love interest, being good but also bad, and I love it. I've already started reading this. I don't have my bookmark in here because I was reading it on my Kindle with the e-arc, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I can see how Miss Thing getting in trouble though, because her stories. Also, I don't fully understand how Marissa Meyer makes writing stories within a story so easy. Like, she's writing a book but also has to have the character to make stories. And I'm like, they just sound so real. Like, it's just so 5 stars, and I haven't even got past chapter 5. Our last retelling and our last book of this haul is Little Thieves by Margaret Owens. So I haven't read anything about Margaret Owens before because I just haven't really had that interest. They do sound interesting, like in general, but they don't sound like something that I would want to read. But when this one was advertised and they asked if I wanted the art and the final copy, I was like, yes. Like, I know I like fairy tale retellings, so why is this even a question? Yes. So this one is actually a retelling of, I believe, the Goose Girl story. And this is about Vanya. I'm gonna call her Vanya. Is a maid, servant, lady, etc. that works for Princess Giselle. But I believe Vanya has been fired or has gotten in trouble for something related to Princess Giselle. Vanya's like, that's all my hard work. Please. So Vanya wants revenge and she wants her life back because she put all that hard work into being with Princess Giselle and it's now going to the trash. So she's upset. And so naturally she decides to kind of take Princess Giselle's life for herself. And I believe what happens is she takes certain jewels from Princess Giselle and they kind of like swap lives. And in the process of doing that, she angers some gods and gets a curse upon her. So if she does not fix the curse that is upon her, she will die and be turned into like little jewels, basically like the jewels that she stole from Princess Giselle. Vanya now has about 2.5 weeks to figure out how to break this curse and to also continue pretending to love Princess Giselle's fiance and figure out all this kingdom stuff. She basically put herself in a pickle because she was angry and vengeful and jealous. And you know what? I love it. I'm really loving that both of these are fairy tale retellings of stories that people don't really hear about a lot. It tends to be all Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. But also because the main characters do sound like they're not necessarily good characters, but also not necessarily bad at the same time. So I'm excited to read these. Honestly, I might give myself a retelling fantasy TBR for a month and just go ham. Because I have these, and then I have a Blade So Black that's on my shelf, and then I have a couple other ones that is on Libby that I want to check out. So that might be a thing. Alright, so that is all the books that I have recently purchased and hauled. There is more coming. They're just gonna have to pop up in a future haul video for y'all, or just check out my Instagram like I mentioned earlier. Well, the sun is getting real low, and that is a cue for me to get on heading out. Thank you guys so much for shopping. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around and subscribing and following. If you'd like to see more content from me, if I'm not like active enough here, again, all my links are down below. TikTok, Instagram. Don't use Twitter. I do have Goodreads and Storygraph. Go check those out as well. Good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is where you are, and I'll see you in a future video. Bye.